Victoria.
Good evening. My name is Victor Gu. I'm a mall organizing leader here at Take Action Minnesota. On September 26th, we launched the reNEW Minnesota campaign at Arlington High School with over 800 people in attendance. I'm excited about the reNEW Minnesota vision and its meaning. To me, this vision is about equity we all seek no matter which racial, social, and economic background we're from. It also means knowing that I have a say in who our next governor will be. It's about making sure we have a governor who shares our vision and who will implement this vision through his or her term in office. Now, everyone here who shares this vision wants to know, since the launch on September 26th, what have you done to enact the vision, and how have you incorporated this vision into your campaign?
Sure. Well, I would first off say that the reNEW campaign has been one of the most complicated parts we could ever have in a candidate schedule, and one of the most transformational experiences that we've ever had. I mean, I just got back from the incredible forum in northern Minnesota where we got to dig into the details of Native peoples and the issues and the values they have. That is a good thing. But what's been, I think, really important about not only this campaign, but the work I've done as the mayor and I want to do as governor, is you can either see diverse opinions as part of the problem or part of the solution. This is really saying that the next governor is not going to have the weight of the entire state on their shoulders. The next governor, if we do it right, is going to have the power of all the voices of Minnesota together. My campaign is a diverse campaign. My governance has been very much about that too. For example, in the campaign, you asked what we will do to bring the voices of the state forward and create opportunity for them. Well, one of the things that I'm proudest of is that in my work, that's what I've been very much about. We speak 100 languages in the city of Minneapolis. That's to some a deficit. To me, it's an asset, and it's how I was able to launch the Minneapolis Promise, where we put career centers in every high school, step up summer jobs for 10,000 kids, college access, because I went out to business leaders and said, we need people who compete in a global economy. So I guess the main point I'm trying to make is the reNEW campaign has been about lots of voices, and the next governor is going to have to hear lots of voices, and I see that as a very good thing.
So our vision lays out a very concrete choice between a vision that we reject, rhetoric that we reject, and a vision that we hope to achieve. Can you talk about how you see that, kind of what we reject and what we embrace, right, and how that plays out in the future administration?
Right. Well, I think one of the things that was powerful when I was first at Arlington High School and read the statement and then I followed it, is it really talks about rejecting visions of scarcity and rejecting visions of exclusion. That's an incredibly important statement, but frankly, it's not a new one to me. I lead a city where we, as I mentioned earlier, speak 100 languages, and a large part of my job is to bring all of those communities together when we can, and that's not always an easy point. But I think the vision that you have laid out is one that I think I've seen that when we've been most successful in my work, it's when we've opened up the doors and brought people in. So I think the importance of what the statement is it's saying that Minnesota is better when we're all together. I think we have had a government that's divided us on urban and rural, right and left, and many other issues. And right now we've got to reconnect Minnesota.
So our second question is going to be asked by Marlene.
Hi. My name is Marlene Lever, and I'm a Take Action leader. I'm a proud supporter of the reNEW Minnesota campaign, and I know that we will need a seated, progressive governor to help us accomplish our goals. I also know this person will need to raise taxes in a fair manner. We have seen just how damaging the policy of no new taxes can be on Minnesota and on the people of Minnesota. And so with this in mind, I ask, if you're elected governor, will you raise taxes? And specifically, how will you use your campaign to build the political support for raising new revenues during your administration?
I'll do as governor what I've done as mayor, which is to say to people that you have to invest. And that's going to mean a couple things. First, I do think government has to establish that we're going to do in government what we do in our own lives, is to turn over every rock and save every dollar we can do. And Democrats and progressives need to establish that we're going to be responsible with people's money. And we also need to reform government. When you establish those two things, I will then say to the people of Minnesota, it will cost us more to get this done. But the difference is we're going to get it done in a way that fixes the long-term structural problems of a budget and invests in the state again. Every budget I've delivered has been balanced, not only just 1 year, but 5 years, and it's been balanced on progressive values. And you can do that because I think what we need to be able to say to people is if you combine reforming government with progressive values, you can get a lot done. So for instance, what I think we need to do is to recognize we're going to have to make some choices in the budget. We have a property tax that is taxing people out of their homes, so we can't go to that. I do believe we have an income tax that needs to be changed so that we would get far more from those at the top end of the spectrum. That alone will not solve the massive budget challenge that we have. So we are going to have to look for other ways to broaden the tax base in the state. I believe we may have to look at a progressive version of broadening the sales tax, and I think there are ways to do that. And if I was given more than a minute, I would love to go into that. But I think what's important is that I came into office at the same time as Tim Pawlenty. He came in a year later. During that period of time, state spending went up 12%, while city spending went up 1%. I've been a better fiscal manager than Tim Pawlenty. Tim Pawlenty and I both raised your taxes. I just told you the truth. That's the only difference. What is important instead is that we have had an investment strategy. Now, Minnesotans need to invest in quality schools. So we need to fix the funding formula for our schools, and that needs to take pressure off our property taxes. And we also need to fix the structural imbalance that has made it impossible for us to invest in the things we care about, health care and progressive job creation.
So as a follow-up, how will you prioritize if there's a concern that taxing is not going to be enough to be able to do everything that's important to Minnesotans? How will you prioritize what gets done?
Yes. Specifically, there are a few tools that you can have for taxes at the state. You can have the income tax, you can take the business tax, you can take the property tax, you can take the sales tax. There are other ways of doing it, but let's look at those and prioritize among those. None of them are things that I would like to do, but if you have to get more money from one place or the other, first it would be income tax at the top end of the spectrum. Second, it would be a broadened sales tax if you can put in protections against those at the most needy part of the spectrum. I think we want to do everything we can to take the pressure off property tax, and I don't want to do any taxes that are going to kill jobs. Does that help? And I've been really clear with people about that. I've laid out much more detail on the budget. I can do that in more detail. I think that's important to do. The people of Minnesota aren't stupid, but they've been treated like idiots by certainly the governor. You need to look out and be honest with people about a budget. That's what I did when I came into office. I said there's no free lunch. Here's what we're going to have to do. We made very difficult decisions in being asked to stop, but if I had more chance, I'd love to go into some of that, because I think getting control of this budget in a progressive way is pretty key to the issue.